Oh, yeah. I mean, I would be scared out of my wits if I had to stand on that stage and just be influenced by so many ghosts. Like, I would shut down. I would go the easiest path. I just want to get off that dang stage.
Exactly. And all the people drinking in the audience, I'm sure it smelled terrible in there. We're talking about the Golden Globes. Welcome to another week of Ghost in the Scene with your host Gio and my co-host Rob. How's it going, Rob?
Gio, I think we should be calling them by their real names, is the Golden Ghosts.
Yes.
Uh, because at this point, this is obviously just a ghost orgy. Uh, it's no hiding it. I think this is all clear. You heard it yourselves, folks. I mean, Satan was thanked on stage. So stop fooling yourself if you haven't already. I mean, hopefully you're not. If you're listening to this podcast, this is your first time listening to this podcast. Strap in, because this is nothing. This is child's play. This is just showing you what's already right in front of your face, which is Satan was at the ceremony himself. So
Yeah, let me quickly I'm going to play the clip because people are not going to believe us. So here is the clip of Christian Bale thanking Satan during his Golden Ghost speech. Here we go. Wow. He said it. Christian. Think about the implications of a man named Christian Bale. Christ Bale, right? Saying,
if in a list, it's usually would be his last name then first name. It's like he's Bale Christian, like he's bailing on being Christian.
exactly. And okay. This is where I'm going to get political because we are a ghost political, paranormal political podcast as well. The Underground Railroad has been reversed. The reverse Underground Railroad exists. And we have it's slight, but it is an indication that the devil is in the White House. Think about what Christian Bale just said. He said, "Thank you, Satan, for helping me play the role of Dick Cheney." Dick Cheney was the vice president of the United States of America. So he absolutely took his turn on the reverse Underground Railroad to the White House. And so what Christian Bale just said, that he is a method actor. He acted as the vice president for months, learned everything about him, learned all of his tricks. And he found that the most kind of influential thing to the vice president was Satan. And Satan had to be in the White House for him to be influenced by him. So Christian Bale just called out the reverse Underground Railroad. And we seem to be the only podcast, the only people talking about it, which is just kind of odd to me.
It's like it's easy because things are going so fast nowadays that it's your mind just gets cleaned. It's just every day. It's like a new slate. And I think it's, we've been being bombarded by so many ghosts that it's hard to remember one from another, and it all starts to blur together. So I think it shows that it's important to stay vigilant, important to keep your eyes open, and to filter through all the noise, and we're here to help you through that journey. It's not easy. You're here to help us through that journey. So thanks again for choosing to listen to us, Audio Sage, Ghost Free. But we're exploring that as well. This is going to be a big year, folks. It's 2019.
That's right. I wanted to amend that because we have been getting some hate mail from some ghosts. I didn't want to talk about this before because this is the kind of hate mail that we get. We don't really like to respond. There's a lot of people calling us fakers and phonies, and it's just negativity that we're not going to deal with. But I think I want to amend the ghost free to ghost friendly. And I'm not saying ghost friendly like we're friends with all ghosts, but only friendly ghosts are allowed on this podcast. So we're a ghost friendly podcast, or maybe a friendly ghost podcast.
Perhaps. I mean, I think this also leads to, I think, our most important event of the year that's coming up, which are the Caspers. It's our annual award show celebrating ghost free or ghost friendly in this case, ghost friendly, the best in ghost friendly films of the previous year. And I think we knew before we knew, Gio, when we called it the Caspers, that this is all about friendly ghosts.
Exactly.
So in that honor, in that spirit, if you were, we're going to forge forward on that path. And we hope that you guys stick around for it as well, because it's going to be a really big event. Last year was our first, I think for our second, now especially, that we really have kind of our format together. This is going to be a big one. We're going to have a ball.
And all the investors that have been pouring in. I mean, we have upwards of $100,000 to spend on this production. Last year, we only had a measly $20,000 that I had to borrow from my grandma, that I have yet to pay her back. But hopefully, with this 100,000, if we could keep it under budget, she can get her money back.
I mean, I'm renting. I'm going out. There's no expenses, so maybe keep those extra checkbooks handy. If you out there want to help pitch in, just telegram some of those funds this way. Big thanks to our longtime contributor, Bill Yates. Thanks, Bill, our angel investor.
Yes, thank you so much, Bill Yates. All of your filtering of the MP3s, all the ghosts, is just amazing for the world. People have been listening to ghost-free music for the past 20 years without even realizing it. And the fact that he's giving us the $100,000 just as this nice little nest egg, just because he believes in us, it's incredible. So thanks again, Bill Yates. And let's get to the Caspers. We wanted to talk a little bit about what they were kind of based off of, the Oscars. The Oscars are kind of a very archaic style of presenting awards to people, right? You have a giant golden statue who's possessed by the ghost of a man named Oscar, and he kind of decides who gets what award. And so it's kind of almost like a religion, a structured religion around a single person named Oscar. And that's kind of what we wanted to get away from, right? So we went the Casper route, the friendly ghost, the nice ghost, who's not. We're choosing the Caspers. It's the people who get to choose, not the ghosts. And what's even crazier is the Oscars have doubled down this year. They saw what we did, right? Obviously, last year was their 90th year of hosting, and so it was a very charged year. And what seems to be is that they saw the Caspers and they said, okay, we cannot compete with a perfect award show with friendly ghosts and no ghosts. So what we're going to do is we're going to take away the human element and we're just going to have ghosts. I accidentally gave you guys some fake news last week and said that Kevin Hart had agreed to be the host. And that was all with the caveat that he and Ellen were going to work it out with the Ghost Hollywood Elite. And I'm just sad to say that Ellen just couldn't pull through.
Oh, I mean, but if you go into the industry, it seems like there's been lots of miscommunications. Apparently, Ellen was speaking about conversations she had with the Academy that now the Academy is denying that they had. It is all lots of speculation going on right now, and it's hard to really know who's really influencing who at this point. So I think this is also like kind of an inflection point here, because here we were trusting the power of Ellen because she is obviously one of the most powerful conjurers, but the fact that she had this miscommunication with the Academy as well really shows you that they're really splintering from their standard human players here and going fully with the ghosts.
Oscar is on like some crazy power trip where for the longest time, I believe that he was surviving off of the adoration and the love of all of the celebrities, all of the people around the world that watched the award show. And now here's my theory. I personally believe that maybe the past 4 years of the Oscars have been contentious. If we recall the Oscars So White, the Moonlight incident, I mean, all of these different kind of things, Billy Crystal not hosting anymore, all of these events lead up to the fact that people, the general population, no longer likes Oscar. And so now Oscar is feeding off of the hate and the ire of the world. And what I fear is that it has made him become kind of self-sustainable, that you can power yourself off of hate and fear and make yourself more powerful. And now he no longer needs nice, friendly celebrities. He just needs the hate from everybody. And so this Kevin Hart thing, what if this was all an elaborate plan from Oscar to choose somebody who was flawed, right? A flawed candidate, knowing that they would get kicked out of the running so that there would be no host, you know? And because that's exactly what happened.
Like, all I know about the Academy Awards is that it all comes down to Oscar. That's all I could really truly say about it, that it is his decision at the end of the day. You know, people may vote and give influence. People show up to the awards. They try to conjure their own spells to plead to Oscar, please give me this award. They dress up in all sorts of garb, and they say things. They give speeches, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it comes down to Oscar and his wishes.
That's right. And you also have to kind of think about this is going back to the Golden Ghosts. The kind of rituals that you do for Oscar also matters. We have the sad case of Bradley Cooper, right? He was wearing all white. This was supposed to be his big night. Him and Lady Gaga, right? They were supposed to win Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, Best Movie, blah blah blah. They got nothing, right? And it's not for lack of trying. You just have to see what they tried. Okay, so first, Bradley Cooper plays a ghost. He dies at the end of A Star Is Born. Straight up, he just kills himself. So for a ghost, that's a little too far. We've talked about this before. The fact that ghosts don't really like death in movies because it's almost like making fun of a ghost. You know? They don't like war movies. They don't like horror movies. Frankly, they're scared of horror movies. And also, it's not representative of what ghosts actually are.
Exactly. I mean, it's just ghost appropriation, and it's just the most disgusting form of that.
Absolutely. It's sickening. And so, you know, Bradley Cooper, and you mentioned this earlier, he wore all white. And as a ghost, we know that that's their favorite color. So that is obviously pandering. So he went overboard by killing himself in the movie, right? Ghosts don't like that. And then he has the audacity to come in an all-white suit. What do you think? He was like fucking Prince? Like, who do you think he is? Bradley Cooper, you don't know ghosts that way, bro. You don't know ghosts that well. You can't just go up and dress like them, pretend to be like them. You're not a ghost. And it's like, it is truly cultural appropriation at its highest form. It is imitation is, you know, the highest form of flattery. But it's cheesy flattery. And the ghosts they see right through it with his big white teeth. What'd you think, that we didn't notice your teeth were white like ghosts? I mean, come on, Bradley. Step up your game, because the Oscars are coming. And if you're going to act like a fool, you're going to get iced out of the Oscars too.
I did appreciate Lady Gaga receiving the award for the song Best Incantation. I think she did spellbind everyone. It was a lovely incantation. And it really drove home to the fact that Bradley was iced out too, because he was the only one that didn't get to go up on the stage. And everyone were pointing at him and talking about him. Mm-hmm. But yet he wasn't there. So I think that was definitely another move from Oscar to really just stick it to Bradley. They're not happy with him. So Bradley, it might be too late for the Oscars. This might be the end of the road for you.
Ouch. That's hard to hear for Bradley Cooper. But luckily, he's probably hungover because he's a method actor. He likes getting hungover. So don't worry about him. He'll be in Hangover 5. It'll be okay at the end of 2019.
He's fine.
What I wanted to talk about a little bit is real quick, just about the song, the incantation "Shallow." That's about water, right? Shallow. It's about being in the deep end, going in the, you're far from the shallow. You're in the deep water. She's talking about the ocean, right? Which brings up a ton of ghosts. So don't think that Lady Gaga got up there for being a good witch like Stevie Nicks or anything. She is basically in the song describing like a Pirates of the Caribbean kind of movie. She's describing the plot of Pirates of the Caribbean in her song. That's why she won. Okay, you didn't see Johnny Depp do a standing O for her when she won, right? They didn't even pan the camera to him, because you would see that his shoulders were shrugged. He looked angry because he knew that the song was really about him and his movies. So, I mean, controversy follows Lady Gaga everywhere. Everywhere she goes. She wears a meat dress, people freak out. If you guys haven't been following the fact that she is still kind of associated with R. Kelly, at least up until maybe a few months ago, people are really confused by that. They don't understand why she's still cool with him. She did so many music videos with him. It's a lot of really weird things that Lady Gaga just loves controversy. And the fact that she wrote a song about Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean and she won a Golden Ghost, I mean, that's a slap right in his face. Because remember, he just got kicked out of Pirates of the Caribbean. He's no longer in it anymore. So that was just a quick little, I wanted to mention that because we're probably not going to talk about that song much more. That was so 2018, But we're in 2019 now.
It's true. That's it with these award shows. Like, I don't want to dwell too much on them either. They happen every year. It's the same song and dance. But we're in a really charged year right now, too. As we probably mentioned before, this is a 666 year. Math heads, you're already there. But we got a 2019, 2019. So that's 213. Flip the 9. That's a 666. That sounds scary. It's scary living in a 666 year. That's a lot of energy that you're dealing with. But I think fortunately for us, this is 2019. It's a 9 year. So that's an inverted 6. So I think that energy can be channeled into more productive ways than if it was, say, like 2016, which was just a straight 666. And we all know how that went.
We know who became president in 2016. We know what happened. And this brings us to our latest segment. This is called The Year of Sixes. Welcome to a new segment, tentatively called The Year in Sixes, also the 666 years. And it is going to be an exploration of every 6 year. We have 2016, but I think that's a little bit too close for us to really judge. Right? It's too close for us because we literally just lived it. So we want to go back to all of the 6 years.
Spells, right? And I just want to throw in, right now there are spells being cast, and there's spells whose influences that are now just coming through. So it's harder to judge things that have just happened because a lot of things are things that not actually happened, but are preparations for things to come.
Exactly.
So we need to look at that. But the further we move back, we can see exactly what was happening and exactly where it has come to.
We can see the arc of a spell. They cast it, and it takes time to actually, go through, just like a credit card payment. And so they cast the spell in 2006, and then maybe 2009, maybe 2013, maybe 2016, it actually happens. But by that point, people are so, we're like fish. We're like goldfish. we have such a short attention span that we forget what happened to Miley Cyrus in 2006. We forget that the guy from Good Charlotte and Hilary Duff were dating in 2006. Think about the power couple between the guy from Good Charlotte and Hilary Duff dating. I mean, the power that they had together in 2006 was unmatched by anybody. And so we just have to go back, and we're going to take you back to these years and show you exactly what happened, unfiltered, through the ghost perspective. Because people don't give you the ghost perspective. People kind of, they give you like a paranormal, like, oh, well, this person died and, whatever. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about spells, incantations, rituals, abuse of power, and of course, movies, films that came out in 2006. So let's kind of talk a little bit about 2006. I personally remember almost every single movie that came out that year because it so happened to be a year that I worked at a movie theater. I have a little bit of PTSD. I don't want to talk about much of my experiences working in the hallways of a haunted movie theater. What I can say is that this is where I got a lot of the training, the ghost training that I didn't know that I was receiving at the time. But literally being around all of the popping popcorn, now when I hear popcorn popping, I freak out. I tense up. It's almost like going on a battlefield and you hear the sounds of bullets. It's terrifying.
I mean, Gio, I'm just glad that you were able to get through that moment too, because each kernel popped is another ghost escaping from those kernels. Like, I mean, have you looked at a popcorn seed and then look at popcorn? That is a spirit escaping from that kernel to make a big fluffy white object. I don't know how that happens other than it's ghosts. That's just fact.
I can tell you, I didn't want to talk about this, Rob, but I'll tell you this. If you listen closely to the pop, I want you guys to do this as an experiment. Pop popcorn at your house, record it on your phone, and then I want you to slow down and really make it loud. And you'll hear, and I've heard this, okay, screaming. You hear the popcorn screaming as it pops, okay? And so this, you're right, it is ghosts. It is the death of a kernel and the birth of a ghost. And truly, that's all I can say. I don't want to say another word. But let's talk about these movies, because some of these movies are sequels. Some of them are the fourth. Some of them are the sixth. So let's talk a little bit about that. I want to start off the list of movies that came out in 2016 or 2006 with Rocky Balboa, which is Rocky 6. Interesting that they didn't call it Rocky 6, though. Right? They called it Rocky Balboa.
They were trying to disguise it, obviously. Because you had Rocky 5 right before that.
Right, and they weren't afraid to call it Rocky 5. But they called this Rocky Balboa. So, in this one, you have Rocky, and he basically sees a video game where he beats up this young guy, and then the young guy gets all pissed, and he's like, there's no way that could happen. And then Rocky Balboa is like, well, I'm going to try anyway. And so he goes and basically tries to fight this dude who's like 30 years younger than him and just gets his ass fucking rocked. Rocky gets his shit kicked out of him. And the whole thing was, it was supposed to be like an exhibition match. Like they're just supposed to like kind of like punch a couple times and that was supposed to be it. Mm-hmm. But Rocky really goes for it. And it's just such a weird movie because the premise is the guy who he was training thought it was going to be like a nothing match. So he just didn't like practice that hard. And Rocky straight up practiced as hard as he could and then went all out and still lost. So what does this tell us from the ghost perspective? Right? What can we infer? As a ghost is watching this, what is he seeing? a couple things. His wife dies in this movie. I think she dies like right before um, the filming of this movie. So it's almost like he's dealing with her death as part of his, like, what do you call it? Training. He's like doing it for her, kind of, you know?
I mean, her presence as a ghost is over the whole film. Like the fact that she is not there, in a sense, makes it so her ghost is everywhere, and that is
Interesting.
haunting him the whole film. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'd say she is in that ghost. Andrea's ghost is in every frame of that film.
And there we have it. So we have a ghost haunting the Rocky Balboa movie set. And think about this, that since Rocky Balboa, there's been two other movies, Creed 1 and Creed 2, right? And she's been a ghost in those movies as well. He's been in both of those movies, and she's been haunting him. So you have, like we were saying before, the start of a ritual, the start of a spell in 2006, right? Adrian dies and is now haunting Rocky. As it's canon, it's part of the movie series. And then 20 what 14 Creed comes out, and then, or 2016, maybe something like that. And basically
2015.
2015, now you have Adrian in 3 movies as a ghost. And we didn't even realize, because obviously the movies, they came out years apart, but now we see that there is absolutely a ghost in the newest Creed movies.
I mean, not just think about all the ghosts that are in this series, though. It's not just Adrian. You know, it's
Mick.
it's Creed's. You know, Adonis, his father, Apollo Creed.
Apollo, yes.
Apollo, Mickey, the trainer,
Mm-hmm. And all of
Polly,
these people.
his brother. Yeah, everyone.
And so we really have the setting up of a ghost universe in the Rocky Balboa saga without them actually ever telling us that we had to come back to 2006. I mean, we really could have gone to Rocky 3 where Mickey dies, but I think it's really the ghost of Adrian that really brings everything together, because she was, Rocky's rock, his foundation. And so I think the amount of ghost power that comes with Adrian is just way more powerful than an old boxing guy, So that's just one movie on the list. Let's quickly go down the list and see what kind of movies there were. We have a 007 movie, Casino Royale, which is part of a saga. We haven't really talked about 007, have we, Rob?
He's been under our radar, but I mean, it's one of the most storied film franchises. Lots of ghosts there as well. The Ghosts of Past James Bonds. I mean, it's fertile ground.
I mean, yeah, we have Sean Connery as a Bond. We have Roger Moore, and then in this one we have Daniel Craig. And if you think about it, these guys, they don't go in for one movie. They do multiples, right? They have a run of movies. Sometimes they'll do 3, sometimes they'll do 4, sometimes they'll do 6, right? And it's all really up to the actor themselves, how much they can handle. Because the 007 role is a very, very intense role. It's almost likened to the Mission Impossible kind of stuff. Which, interesting enough, Mission Impossible 4, or actually, yeah, 4.
3.
Oh, no, 3. Yeah, you're right. Mission Impossible 3, oh my God,
in 2006.
In 2000.
So, all right, math heads. I mean, I think even this is some rudimentary stuff. I think you're with us. We don't even have to say it.
Yeah. So this is a movie. Also, it came out May 5th, 2006, which means that's midnight. So the next day is May 6th, 2006, 666. Very interesting. It got a 6.9 on IMDb. Very interesting. So that's one of the movies. We also have two movies starring Will Ferrell. One of them, Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, and the other one is Stranger Than Fiction, which is Stranger Than Fiction. That's kind of what a ghost is. And if you remember the movie, it's basically about a guy who's like in a novel and he hears a narrator, and it almost kind of sounds like he's hearing a ghost. And he finds out she's a real person, but I mean, it could have easily been a ghost. Have you do you know much about Will Ferrell, Rob?
Well, he's been in the biz for some time now. You know, Will Ferrell's just been kind of a guy unto himself. I don't think that he's necessarily been in with ghosts, but he's definitely benefited from lots of ghosts, I'd say, to reach this point of his career. I mean, this was really the height, you know, in 2006. This is when he was, I think, fulfilling a lot of spells that he's placed earlier, and this is his reward. Talladega Nights, it's his first prize. He's crossing that finish line fast.
Yes.
And people love him.
He was huge. This was truly like his year, right? I wanted to quickly mention the fact that in his movie Talladega Nights, it's if you're not first, you're last. Think about the contrast between first and last, right? It's almost like the contrast between good and evil.
I mean, this is getting into binary, right? And then quantum state of being. This is all connected to higher math power. So I really do appreciate it when films are able to demonstrate these concepts. And it's such highbrow stuff, you know, like Talladega Nights.
True. It is interesting that they put so much, equational math into a movie about racing. But it does make a lot of sense when you know that they're going 260 miles an hour sometimes. This was a movie where he wasn't alone. Like in Stranger Than Fiction, he was pretty much alone the whole time. I think Dustin Hoffman might have been in it, but he didn't play a big role. In The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights, he was with John C. Reilly, which John is almost like an apostle, right? Of Will Ferrell. Them together were comedy gold. They were in multiple movies. I think they were in 3 or 4 movies together during the span of like 2006 to 2010. And here we have a power couple that initially planted their seed in 2006 and were able to garner so much fame. They did so many rituals together and convinced millions of people, maybe billions of people, that they were the two funniest men on the planet Earth. And then we have 13 years later, and what has happened? Their star has fallen, has descended, and they recently came out with a movie in 2018, and it just bombed. It just took a huge dump. The Sherlock and Watson, Holmes and Watson, it is one of the most critically panned movies of 2018. People walked out. They hated it. They say it's cheap, it's stupid, it's goofy. And honestly, I'm a little bit confused. Why would these two ghosts, they know how to work the system. They know the rituals. What did they do wrong?
Gio, I mean, it's simple. It's bad math is all that it comes down to. They released that film in, you said, like you were saying, now it's 13 years ago from 2006 since Talladega Nights. If they just waited until, now it was 2019, they released it this last winter around the holidays, 12 years ago, the numbers just don't add up. So It's really, I think they were resting on their laurels. And I'm using that phrase particular because John C. Reilly was trying to make another power couple comedy at the same time with his Laurel and Ollie film.
Of course. which
So
he was nominated for a Golden Ghost. Of course, he didn't even get on the stage. But truly, I think you made a great point. The numbers are wrong, and he was already doing like another power couple thing. He's basically cheating on Will Ferrell, and you don't cheat on Will Ferrell and get away with it. And I think maybe and this might be kind of sad to say, but maybe Will Ferrell kind of threw his performance because he was jealous that John C. Reilly was working on another movie set with somebody else.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of speculation to what it could be, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's just none of it added up,
Right.
and it wasn't the same kind of product as they were putting out now 13 years ago, which was a formidable duo to be. They were. I think they cast the spell to convincing everyone that they were the funniest people on earth.
I mean, this is kind of the thing about power couples is it really takes two to tango. It's not just one person that gets the control. You have to have two people rowing the boat, right? And so let's look at a power couple that started in 2006. And
oh my God, Gio, I gotta hold on one second.
Of course. Okay. 1 second, guys.
Gio, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
You're
sorry.
back.
I'm not quite sure what just happened right there. I think I blacked out or something. I don't know.
You had a very strange look on your face for about 2 minutes. You just kind of stared blankly, and I saw you close one of your eyes, and then you opened another of your eye, larger than I've ever seen it open. I don't know what that means, but I think it might have been a premonition, because what I wanted to talk about was Miley Cyrus and her wedding. You guys, have you heard about this? She had a secret wedding with Liam Hemsworth in 2019. Let's see. Yep, they were fucking married. Beautiful. So we have here in 2006 is the first time that Liam Hemsworth and Miley Cyrus are seen together out in public. Right? They were in a movie, I believe, called The Last Song. And from that movie, they fell in love. And actually, I'm sorry, that is fake news. The Last Song came out in 2010, which means that they knew each other since before 2010. Very, very interesting. So that's also 13 years ago that they've met each other. Now they're married, which is a 13-year relationship. But what I thought was very interesting was the fact that they broke up in 2013, which is 7 years after 2006. So think about it, okay? You have a power couple. Obviously, they're up to no good. They're trying to get more power by unifying their family names. And then we have the year 2013, the 7th year of their relationship. And divine intervention strikes and splits them apart, right? Like lightning through a tree. And we think that's great, right? They're apart. The power couple is officially over. Whatever kind of world domination they were planning is no longer on the table, right? And yet, they get back together and they consummate their full marriage on the 13th year. So what does that say? That says that hell is real, that Satan is real, and that even the devil can outsmart God when God isn't looking. And that's truly that really scared me.
It's right there. It's all in the numbers.
So that's 2006 in a nutshell for you guys.
But I mean, if you're not convinced, if after all this, if you're still skeptical and on the fence that the control and the power of 2006, here's just the last little tidbit. Number one box office, domestic and worldwide. No one's close to even touching this, box office. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. There you have it. In 2006, you got Johnny at the top of the pile, just steering that ship straight off the cliff of the edge of the world. Not quite to the end of the world, but
at World's End.
At World's End, which is coming up after this, but is right now just hanging out with a bunch of dead men.
Wow. There you have it, guys. If you didn't I didn't want to mention, because I did see that on the list, but I just thought it was too charged of a movie to talk about. But really, that's all you really need to know. 2006 was a year that people think that we forgot. And I'm here to say we did not forget. And we remember everything. And we will not forget. And we're going to keep up with every single story from 2006 because there's so much that happened. Steve Irwin died. I mean, you have a Russian spy who got poisoned. I mean, so think about that. People from Russia, the whole Russia story, all of that saga started in 2006, right?
I mean, there's waves, right? Connecting to 2006. I mean, this goes back farther. 1996 is also a supercharged year, and has a lot of connections. Going back to the Baldwins as well. That's the big year for them. So we're going to be looking out for that. There's other events, world events that happened in 1996 we may be getting into. I mean, there's just so much. We might have to wait until 20. I don't. What would be our next one that's going to come up? Probably 2023.
Yeah.
Until we get another charged year like this. So we might have to wait until that time to dig up even more information.
I think you're right about 2023 because that 2 and 2 is 4, right? 4 times 3 is 12. Divided by 2 is 6. 6 times 6 twice, that's 6. But then even that 23, 2 times 3, that's 6, right? Or 2 divided by 3, that's 0.666.
That's an infinite 666.
Wow.
So there's a lot of ways to get there. So that's what's so tricky about those years as well. You have a lot of different routes to get to your 6s.
And that's where we're going to have to leave the year 2006. There's so much we could do. But we're going to reserve the rest of our research for another day. I truly believe that there is just like oceans of information that we could gather, and it still wouldn't be enough because all of the rituals, all of the sacrifices, everything that happened behind the scenes has come to light in different ways. They've mutated, they've changed their faces, they've changed the name, and they expect us to not know what, that it's the same thing. It's the same spell. Guess what? We know their secrets. We're going to find out every single thing under the sun because we just have the time and the resources. With Bill Gates behind us, we have the money. So be on the lookout. And of course, get ready for the Caspers because they are coming. Make sure you wear your Sunday best, your Monday best. I think it's going to be on Monday, the 25th, February 25th. So get ready for that. And stay in the scene, guys.
Keep extreme. We're going to be getting into more stuff. It's not just going to be about the award shows coming up. There are some recent developments coming from the most haunted place on the planet, the White House. It's just painted for ghosts. I think ghosts made it white, actually. I'm going to go on record saying that. It's not paint. It's the ghosts that make it white.
Ooh.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that. Too much to get through to talk about any of it today. It's going to be crazy next week. So we're going to just dive into that then. But keep on getting out there, keep on doing your thing. Don't let that stop you. Don't be spooked.
Mm-hmm. And of course, take care. We love you. Be safe. And listen to Ghost in the Scene. Listen to our other episodes. And watch us on YouTube. Give us 5 stars. Do whatever you got to do. And we will see you guys next week. Take care.